Hey guys, my name is Aiden. Welcome to the second China Creator Hub Zoom event. And today we have a very exciting topic. It's called MCN. So if you haven't heard the term MCN before, it's like an agent in China. So whether for local Chinese creators or international creators, MCN is like a very agents that like helping creators to either like managing their platforms or introduce them to brand deals. So there's a lot of controversial things about MCN. Some people have very negative experience, some have very positive experience. So I think in the next hours you will learn a lot from this Zoom event. So yeah, stay tuned for that. First, let's introduce who are we, why we made China Creator Hub. There's four of us co-founders. On the left is me, Aiden, Kiki, Charlie, and Matt. Four of us, we met in Shanghai. We just initially become best friends. So yeah, forget to introduce myself. My name is Aiden. I'm a full-time YouTube content creator and co-founder of China Creator Hub. And the reason that we wanted to make the Creator Hub is, back to the second slide, is we wanted to organize big dinners, big events, and linking people up together, like networking. And you also get to meet people from all kinds of different industry. Some people are doing AI industry, some people are in education industry. So we felt like it's super pleasant, super fun to just meet people. And also, at the beginning of content creation journey, we wasn't like I'm sure like everyone was pretty lonely. So it's quite interesting, like you making a content about China, and then you decided to move to China or whatever, doesn't matter. Anyway, it's just like you have a community you can stick into, and you feel like you don't left out, you're not alone if you're inspired to. So that was the reason that we created China Creator Hub. Four of us, four co-founders. There's only three today, so I would like to take a few more minutes to let them introduce themselves. Kiki, would you like to go first?
Okay.
Yes.
So hello guys. I'm very happy to be here. And so currently I'm doing like some design for China Creator Hub, and also I'm running a startup company. I have like we're doing AI videos, and so I guess I'm kind of relate to China Creator Hub. And what else? Yes, that's
That's
basically what
good.
I'm doing right now. And also I'm in Shanghai, so uh I'm very happy to meet you guys, like if you're in Shanghai. So yes, thank you guys.
Let's work. Let's go, Matt.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Kiki. Hi everyone. I'm Matt. I'm an American-born Chinese, and I also do content creation. Mostly post short-form video, starting to do YouTube vlogs as well. But I met Aiden and Kiki through social media, and I felt like, you know, a lot of people being able to connect to each other through social media, and having like-minded people around you is really important on this journey, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to create this with Aiden, Kiki, and Charlie. I want to be able to let everybody share their story of China, their perspectives, and spread that all over the world. And I think this is a really cool opportunity, as well as to meet other fellow creators that are doing very different but also very cool things. And yeah, I'm excited that everybody's here. Thank you guys for joining.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt and Kiki. I think, oh, one more announcement. So there was a spontaneously meetup by other creators. They hosting a big meetup in Shanghai. So if you guys haven't checked the group message yet, if you are in Shanghai, check it out. Okay, now I think let's introduce our first guest of tonight, Melina. She's from Germany. Melina, are you there?
Hi, yeah, I just unmuted myself. Hi, everyone.
Nice to have you, Melina. So I think
Yeah,
it's your showtime now. So I'll keep myself quiet. Then
okay.
okay.
So I think it's a wonderful idea to create this group because doing social media by yourself without knowing anyone or knowing the system is really hard. So I started in 2020, so around 5 years ago, but I wasn't really consistent. I was posting for some time very intensely, and then I was working full time, so I slowed a bit down. And I was also thinking of how to make different content. I made a couple of different contents. So Um, okay, first of all, I post on Douyin, Xiaohongshu, WeChat. So I'm posting more on Chinese media more than on Western media. I also post on Western media, but I don't have as many followers as I have to say. Actually, recently I started TikTok, and I was quite surprised that a lot of people actually find the aspect that I'm speaking Chinese and I have English subtitles to be quite interesting, because maybe they think, oh, it's different. Like, you don't expect someone who looks very European to be able to speak Chinese. That's probably what draws them in. I don't know, but okay. So I started with during the pandemic to introduce people to German culture, lifestyle, and actually the videos that did best were really simple videos. Like the video that got most clicks, 20 million clicks, was how to separate garbage. Because that was a really hot topic in Shanghai and Beijing during that time, around 2, 3 years ago. And yeah, generally topics that are about life, family, they do best. We always think about we have to have this great life of traveling around, but actually travel content is not that great. I also get back to that point later again. Okay, can you go to the second slide? Yeah, and overall, I have around now 800,000 followers on Chinese social media, and I speak mainly Chinese in my videos. That's also important to know. Okay, so last year I moved, no, 1.5, 2 years ago, I forgot already. I moved back to Beijing. I lived before in China before the pandemic, but then I had suddenly, while I was living in Germany, so many followers. So I was like, maybe I should pursue this as a full-time job, because I really enjoy filming and I enjoy the whole culture aspect. So I went back for a language course, and then after that I wanted to sign with an MCN, because my problem was that I didn't really understand a lot of things, how you could earn money. I had so many followers and had hardly any income. I cooperate a few times with German companies, but I didn't even sign up. You know, on Xiaohongshu and Douyin you have a back website which is called Xingtu Star Map, and on Xiaohongshu it's called Dandelion platform, but in Chinese is Pudong Ping, something like that. And you have to sign up for that in order to get actually commercial deals. Now, I didn't know that for a long time, in case you also don't know. So I met with several MCMs last year, and if you ever consider working together with someone, or if you want to figure out a better marketing strategy for the Chinese market, I highly can recommend to meet with MCMs, because I got out of these meetings with so much more knowledge. I wrote a list of all the things I wanted to know. And actually, my intention was to get a contract with them, but actually it helped me a lot to refine my strategy and to know what works and what doesn't work. So I also took a lawyer, and I spent a lot of money for around 2,500 US dollars. And actually afterwards, I decided it's not for me, the MCM, but the lawyer also helped me to understand a lot of things clearer. I mean, it's a lot of money, but I learned a lot. So if you want to work together with an MCM, there's actually two different things that you should look for. And there's exclusive contracts and non-exclusive contracts. Now, stay away from the non-exclusive, for the exclusive one. Exclusive means that you can only work together with them. So whenever you earn any money from your social media or any commercial work, or you participate in a film, in a documentary, in a commercial, and it's not even via them that you got that, maybe via a friend, but they will earn money, and they will earn a lot. So that's an exclusive contract. You also have to I mean, also your private life, you shouldn't be talking about this and that. And this is very interesting what they write in a contract, like how much they're actually owning you as a person. They're actually owning your life. Now, non-exclusive contracts, I think, are quite interesting. So you work with an MCM on a basis that if they get your business, they earn. If they don't get your business and you get some other projects, then it's none of their business. Okay, so can you go to the next slide? So maybe you have seen some other Chinese creators and you're like, wow, they have so many fans. So I made a list of all the biggest MCMs in China, and I'm trying to meet some of them in person. Now, the biggest ones, or the worst ones I found out, are those who have a lot of influences under them. They have around 3,000 influences, but they're not really earning money from all of them. They just help them, and they hope that some of them go viral, and that's where their main income comes from. So these are usually, I found out, are the worst MCMs because it's just about quantity. It's not really about quality. They also, when you meet with them, they promise you a lot. They're like, we're going to help you with this. We're going to refine your strategy. We're going to write scripts for you. We're going to help you to boost your channel. We're going to also spend money on your channel. But at the end, I think it's a bit more bullshit. I mean, they know the strategy on how to get you into the company, right? Now, also their contracts are depending, like how much you're earning from cooperation depends on your fan base. Now, when I was talking to them, I already had at least 500,000 followers across the platforms. And they only offered me contracts where I would earn 30 to 40% and they would take 60 to 70%. That's quite normal. If you actually get 40% and they take 60 is quite normal. If you find an MCM that gets 50-50, it's extremely rare, and you only get that when you have already millions of fans. It usually starts with less, and the more successful you get, the more percentage you get. Now, what do they offer you is that some of them help you filming, very few of them do. And if they do, it's probably really crappy. You just take a phone and they just film you, so it's not really interesting. I think so because I can take myself a phone or I can ask a friend, right? The second thing is they edit your videos, and you just have to talk a little bit with them what style you want. I had some friends who cooperate with some MCMs that did some videos for them. I thought they're quite good, especially one friend of mine tried it for quite some time. But he then later on edited his own videos again, and then he changed the contract, the percentage, but they actually were quite nice. They said, okay, well, now you edit, we'll just give you business, so he also had an exclusive contract, the not so good one. And he actually renegotiated, but often that's not possible. So the minimum what they offer you is actually 3 years, but most of the time they told me that I have to stay with them for 5 years. And now the best thing is coming. That really blew my mind because these contracts are actually slavery contracts. I showed that to my parents, translated everything to German, showed it to my parents, and my father was like, please don't sign that. You like give away your life. So basically, after 3 or 5 years, they look at if you have met the targets, if you have had a certain amount of income, or if you have achieved a certain amount of followers. The contract gets renewed for another 3 years, and then for another 3 years. So I have seen contracts that go up to 12 years in total, and some others only go to 7 or 8 years, but less than that is probably not possible. So you probably have 3 years at the beginning, but if you're really successful, then they always add. Now, if you want to get out of the contract, you need to get a lawyer and you need to go to courts to say that you have also some rights, right? Usually you need to pay a huge penalty, which is around 700 to 1.5 million RMB, which is a lot. You can actually buy a house for that in some countries. And then also, you also have to pay the penalty if you go against some Chinese law, like saying something about the Chinese government that you shouldn't be saying. But anyways, I mean, they're all sensitive platforms, so that's hard to do. They also don't provide you with a work visa, because that was my biggest concern. How can I stay in China if nobody gives me a work visa, right? They don't want that, because then they have to pay social fee, they have to pay health insurance. So they're like, oh, you just figure that out by yourself, or you just go back to your own country, which is like, well, you're not really helping me with anything. So I took my lawyer, and then I discussed with one agency that was much smaller. They only had around 100 content creators in Beijing for around 3 months. And then after that, it happened that the manager who was responsible for me, he left the company because he got really sick. And the new one was not so nice anymore. He wanted to do live streaming. Anyways, all of them want to do that because that's the easiest way on how to earn money really quickly. If you are posting videos, you can also earn money. By the way, also some people told me, another person who has worked in MCN before, that either you should do live streaming or either posting videos. Usually the income doesn't come from both, but I don't know how far this is true, but he has worked for several MCNs before and he didn't seem to be a person that talks nonsense. So I think there must be a point. So after discussing with them for such a long time, I thought, okay, I don't want to work with this MCN. Also, the contact person left. A massive problem of MCNs is that the turnover rate of employees is really high. So you might be in contact with someone or with your video editor, and then next day they're gone. and nobody cares around anymore. So massive problem. They change all the time, the employees, because probably they also get pretty badly paid. So as like these exclusive contracts, I can just say stay away from them. You will only lose on long term, and they don't really offer you real support of what you want to do. But now let's talk about the non-exclusive one. Can you go to the next slide? So what you can do instead is have a non-exclusive contract. I know some people who have done that. They have a non-exclusive contract with 1 or 2 MCNs, and they got them a couple of times some business, which I think is a great idea because they are much more professional, so probably you can learn from them. And still, even meeting them to just discuss it is also useful for you because they can probably tell you, well, that's what you're doing is great, but it's not a good thing to earn money, or that's like something where you can't really grow on long term, right? So if you have the opportunity, just write some of them and tell them I want to meet up, go there in person, discuss with them, and then at least see it like a learning, like a lesson. Okay, then one moment, I need to read my slides. So what I personally learned from MCNs is that I thought always that travel content is great, traveling around in China and introducing Chinese culture, but in travel and tourism, there's not really much money. And when I get now offers to travel to certain cities or places, because often they want foreigners there to promote Chinese cultures, and I've taken part in some documentaries to travel to Yunnan and to travel to some other provinces. It was great, but the prices were always really low. And I usually only accept very cultural things. And also if you are, for example, an ABC, like American-born Chinese, or you look Asian, they probably don't even want to cooperate with you because it's about the point is about having the white monkey job, the foreigner in China to promote Chinese culture. So it's really not about your skill, it's just about the way you look. It's quite superficial. And also these prices, they offer around 4,500, 6,000 yuan, 4 to 6,000 yuan maybe, for 1 day of flying there, staying there 2-3 days, and then flying back. I'm like, well, that's a lot of time, and I still need to edit the video, right? So it's not really lucrative. Same thing is true for hotels. Hotels usually give you free night to stay, some food. They also pay you the flights. That's not the problem because that's what they can deduct from their bookkeeping. Flights are not a big deal, and the hotels are also not a big deal, but the price what they actually pay you is expensive for them. So I think that traveling is something you can do once in a while, but shouldn't be your main focus because there's no money. And culture also doesn't have any money. But culture is still important because that's what the government supports, and that's what people, like your viewers, find great. Whenever I make a video about some deeper knowledge about Chinese culture, or I'm trying out some stuff that is related to Chinese culture, I get a lot more likes than on other videos because people are like, great. She appreciates our culture. She tries new things. It's not so superficial, right? So culture is still important. You just need to find out on how to monetize it a bit better. Then what MCNs have also told me, if you're a female influencer, or even as a man, it's great to have women as viewers because women buy everything online. They buy stuff for their house, like cleaning products. They buy stuff for their kids, they buy makeup, clothes, even 60% of men's clothes are bought by women. Now, my problem on Douyin is that I have 90% of men like following me. On Xiaohongshu is around 50-50, but that's really bad because especially these men, I think the average age is like 38 years old. Also, 38 is a bit too old, like it's the average, right? The 30 and 20 years olds are still good, maybe 40 as well, but like mid-40s later, 50s, 60s, they don't really purchase that much online because that generation is a bit too old to do regularly online shopping. So you want to target actually young women in their 20s and 30s. Now also men is also okay if you have content for tech, for AI, for other stuff. But again, you have to see like that you have some better cooperation, like some good corporations like for electric products or some other stuff, because you're certainly not going to sell a car via Douyin. Okay. So I was also very concerned about should I always speak Chinese, because when I wouldn't be speaking Chinese, if I would throw in a few English sentences, because my English is much better than my Chinese, obviously. I was very afraid of like using English a bit more because my first few videos were all in Chinese, but it was very simple Chinese. I always wrote a script and sat in front of the camera. But now I would like to do more in-depth videos. And actually some of these MCMs have given me quite good advice on that. They were like, your Chinese is not fluent enough that it's nice to listen to you. That's a hard one to take. Such an insult. But I'll take that. Yeah, I mean, I can talk about simple topics, but if it gets a bit more difficult, then I just don't have the vocabulary yet for that. So they said actually a lot of young Chinese want to improve their English, so it's also fine to sometimes speak in English, and it also makes you stand out as probably a well-educated person if you can speak English and Chinese at the same time. So mixing Chinese and English is fine as long as you provide subtitles. And what I said before, I was recently starting to post, like I recently started to post on TikTok, and I have a lot of people from Singapore, Malaysia, the US following. They are maybe just foreigners or they are like Chinese living abroad. So actually there is like, even if you speak Chinese in the first few sentences, or what I've done two type, like the same video, but then recorded the beginning sentence, once in Chinese, once in English. So the whole video is the same except the first sentence. So I would post the one that starts with English on the Western websites and the one that starts with Chinese on the Chinese websites. Like this, I'm not wasting so much time of making two videos in both languages because just don't have the resources. You need a team for that, but it still like draws in attention from people as the first 3 seconds are the most important, right? Okay, next slide. Okay, so after discussing with so many MCMs, I was like, I really want to stay in China. I'm going to open my own company because like that I can give myself a work visa. Oh my God, that's a hard one because you don't know where to start. Nobody really knows. As a foreigner, there's a lot of like specific rules that apply to you. So I found an agent. You need agencies. You can't do it alone, even if your Chinese is great. So I found an agent who helped me to get my business license, which was around $1,000 US, maybe a little bit more, $1,200 US. And then they got me the business license. They helped me to define my company scope. The easiest company to open is a consulting company, even if it's not a consulting company. Like my main business is still social media, but we opened it as a cultural company that does promotes culture exchange between China and Germany, which is actually true to a certain extent. And we also wrote social media on it, but like a little bit further down in the company, like in the business scope of business. So yeah, and then I got myself a work visa by hiring another company. Now, what you should know if you want to work in China, you have to have a bachelor's degree. That's absolute minimum. And after your bachelor's degree, you need 3 years of full-time work experience after your bachelor's, not before your bachelor's. And if you don't have that, you won't get it. Now, if you have a little bit less work experience, there's ways to work around it, maybe. But you need to definitely get an agent that helps you with that, to write a letter to the authorities because they know what they want. If you do it by yourself, you probably get rejected. And the next time you apply, they know that it's bullshit, what you're telling them. Okay, then you need to get a bookkeeping company. Mine is great. They probably think I'm really stupid because I ask so many stupid questions every single month. You need to send them every month, like your book, like your bank account, like your bank statement and other stuff. But if they're only able to speak Chinese, it costs around 2,500 RMB to 3,000 RMB. So quite cheap, actually. And they also do if you're at the end of the year, they also do the whole yearly reports. They help you to open the fapiaos, the invoices. Yeah, and then you also, as a foreigner, if you ever want to open your company, because you actually have only four different possibilities. You can come on a tourist visa, which doesn't allow you to work, and you have to leave China very quickly again. You can come on a student visa. Again, you will be too busy, and you also can't legally work. Some people do it, but it's not what you want to do on long term. Then you can come on You can get a work contract with a bigger company that applies for you. They also pay you social insurance and other stuff, but you need to work 100%. There's no such thing as part-time jobs in China for foreigners. That's not what is allowed here. And then the last option is you can open your own company. You can do whatever you want, but you're responsible for your own business. So you need to have a certain income. If the first year is not great, the second year also not, is fine. They just want to see that you're growing a little bit, like your company gets a bit of business, and then after some time they will see if they keep it open. The work visa is actually more an issue because you have to like prove to them that you're having a certain income. But even if you, for example, I have my company now since more than a year, and I was not paying myself a salary for the first few months, and they're still fine with it. They just want to see that you get business, a bit of business. Yeah. Most of the people I actually know here who are in film, they probably work as an actor or do social media. They all found their own company. There is no other way, because MCNs, I only know one MCN that wants to offer me a work visa, but their marketing strategy and their income wasn't that great. They actually have a lot of foreign influencers, but they're struggling a little bit to get enough income for themselves. So yeah, I mean, you can have a nice MCN, but if they don't make any money, it's a problem. You can have a mean MCN that make a lot of money. Yeah, it's hard. MCNs are generally so hard to like find a good one. So to open a company, I don't know how interested you are in this, but probably after today you will realize there is not a lot of other ways if you want to stay in China and if you want to do social media full time. Also, if you're living abroad and you want to earn income from China, you still need to have a company because people need to pay you somehow, right? Officially. So you need to have a second person for opening the company. You can be the only legal person, the Fahrer in Chinese, but the other person is going to be your supervisor. Now, I highly recommend having a Chinese person, like a person with a Chinese ID card. If the person is also a foreigner, it's okay, I mean, legally, but it's going to give you a lot of problems. And actually, that brings us to our next topic. If you have a foreign passport, business is hard in China. You can't do a lot of stuff. I can't even open Fabios. It doesn't recognize my face. I have to go in person to some things because I can't use my passport. And actually the worst thing is that even though I have a lot of fans, I still have my passport in the systems of Xiaohongshu and Douyin. And so I can't, which prevents me, and there's I haven't found any way to get around this. And I know a lot of other people have the same problem. Well, let's say it like this. I don't know anyone who doesn't have the problem as a foreigner. I can't link products. I can't do live streams. And I also can't put products from affiliate programs into my shop so people can purchase them, which means that I do not have a lot of ways to earn money. I can basically just cooperate with a company. They can tell me, show the product, explain it, and then they pay me for that. But if they say link the product, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I'm a foreigner. I have a foreign passport. I can't get around this problem. Now, I know two foreigners, a German and also a Russian. They were like, okay, well, I can't do that. Then I just use my friend's Chinese ID card or my girlfriend's Chinese ID card. They put that in. The other person betrayed them, took away their accounts with a few million followers. Yeah. So I know some, like there are some foreigners who do live streams. They probably look like they're doing it all by themselves. They don't. They're all married to Chinese or they have someone else helping them. I reached out to some of them, was like, hey, you're looking like you're doing this by myself. It's like, oh, my wife is Chinese. Oh, my husband is Chinese. I have this Chinese friend. They all do it on a Chinese ID card. Now, if you want to transfer your account to someone, it's also not so easy. You have to like fulfill some criteria. Plus also, if you give the account to someone else, they put in their ID card, then it legally belongs to them. It doesn't belong to you. You can make a contract, but like, yeah, I mean, it's probably a bit safer, but then again, you have to take a lawyer, go to court if they're going to take it away from you. So basically, I wish someone would have told me this a couple of years ago. Earning money on social media in China is really, really hard. Like if you want to earn a lot of money, it's hard because you only can get these corporations where you explain products, but you can't link them, you can't do live streaming, etc. unless you have a contract with an MCM. And they probably want to have an exclusive contract because they don't want to work with you for 1 year, help you a lot, and then you're suddenly going, right? That's why MCMs are not actually interested in having you just for a few projects. They want to have you on board and for a few years so they can suck out the money out of you, especially as a foreigner. They know that it sells well. Or the second option is marry a Chinese. Most people who are actually successful, they're married to a Chinese, so they run the business together. So all of their business goes on a Chinese ID card of their partner. And I don't think this is going to change. Some people were like, but you know, the softwares are also new. Maybe it's going to change. No, it won't change because the government doesn't want it. The government wants someone who is responsible for these accounts. If you're doing something wrong, if you're doing something illegally, that this person, the Chinese person, is going to be responsible for that, right? And also, I think it has to do also with the tax system, right? You could live somewhere, like they want you to pay tax in the same place. And even though I opened my own company, I tried everything. I tried to talk to this platform. Some people say there's some specific rules if you meet a certain target of followers, but you have to work years for that and maybe it doesn't work. So just for you to know that, if you're not married to a Chinese and if you don't want to sell your life to an MCM, then you should probably consider to do content that is also interesting for Western websites. Also posting on Douyin, posting on Xiaohongshu, and posting on TikTok, and posting on YouTube. Now I'm following some people, they do a lot of videos in English and put Chinese subtitles, or do it like half-half, or probably just speak in Chinese but still have English subtitles, but their focus is YouTube. Their focus is the West, because that's actually where you can get an income. It's hard to take. So either you find yourself a nice husband or wife in China, or you better focus on Western media. Yeah, so just to know that. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Yeah, so other ways to get deals is that I was reaching out to some German companies because it's good to, you know, have someone from your own, like you are from a country, so you can like very nicely, you have like the culture, the face for the country, you speak the language, so you can promote their products in China, right? So I reached out to some German companies. I went to their international websites because I knew that they're already selling some products in China, like not very successful, like some of them, they would just sell a little bit, not big brands. I mean, they're in Germany big brands, but in China, they're not yet big brands. So I would reach out to them. I'm like, hey, I have so and so many followers. I would write them an English email and a Chinese email. And it's like, if you're interested, why don't you give this to your Chinese department or the agency in China, and they can contact me. And actually, some of them got back, contacted me. I had a few cooperations with them, but again, they want to put the link, so probably they're just going to work a couple of times with you until they recognize that you can't really link their products, which is fine for some it isn't. And then I would recommend that you probably approach some of these marketing agencies, not MCMs, but marketing agencies. So these agencies that take products from China and sell it in the West, or take products from the West and sell it in China. So not a brand itself, but they help like other smaller brands to sell their products, because they're actually interested in cooperation and they don't want to have an exclusive contract with you. And then also try to attend networking events. I think that has helped me a lot. Don't just talk to people who are in their 20s and 30s, but try to talk to people who are like 40, 50 years old. I joined a network in Germany, and they actually helped me so much the last few years. I also worked a lot for free for them, but they basically have really good connections to the Chinese embassy in Germany, which has helped me so much. And also, they don't really need me sometimes for some stuff, but I recently did an interview with one of our like higher ministers in Germany and the highest person in the embassy from China, like from Frankfurt. So I'm just saying that these things don't really get you money, but they give you experience. You can put that on your CV. It broadens your horizon. So if I would really, if I would be you, try to go to the Chamber of Commerce, try to go to the embassies, try to talk to other people, try to introduce what you're doing, try to show them what you're doing, exchange WeChat, get their phone number, and then try to like prove to them by, hey, I can help you with this event, or how about we meet for coffee and lunch? Because some of them will really, really support you if they like you. It's really important. Like next week, I'm going to go to Shenzhen, Hong Kong, Shanghai, and Hangzhou with one of a company that organizes trips for entrepreneurs. So they will have 30 entrepreneurs from Germany going there, and they don't really need me. But one of them, like one of my friends from the other thing, was like, "Why don't you come along and you make some videos? We pay you for that." They get some nice videos. They anyways have some budget left, and I'm like, "Great." I'm getting paid is a great opportunity for me to connect with all these because they're going to visit a lot of like these business places, and I can put that on my CV because the problem with social media is that you're going to be a long time at home. I mean, a lot at home alone editing. It's really sad that you don't have a team. Maybe you have an editor, but they sit somewhere else. So yeah, I think I have talked much more than 15 minutes. I'm sorry, but I hope it was insightful. Yeah. So yeah, as total, I can just say, focus either on Western platforms and try to work once in a while together with MCNs, but don't think they're going to make you famous or whatsoever. Or try to find a nice Chinese partner.
That's
Yeah.
very funny. Thank you so much, Melina. Yes, please stay. If you have any questions with Melina or the coming guest Yegor, save it until the end with the Q&A sections. So yeah, thank you again, Melina, for the wonderful sharing. It's very informative, and myself, I have so many questions I want to ask. So anyway, so welcoming to our next guest. This is a very good friend of mine, Yegor. So Yegor, can you
Hey,
introduce yourself to everybody?
hey, what's up? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I'm the lucky guy that has a Chinese partner.
Great,
But
one step, first step achieved.
no, I mean, I wish it was that simple, as Melina said. I wish I'll tell you a short story and then I'll introduce myself and talk about MCN company. So I registered my Douyin on my wife's ID card. So it's Chinese ID card, right? And I was like, that's so great. I can do live streaming. And I started doing the live streaming. It was for an event about reading the books. I was reading the books. I was so excited, and then I received a warning saying that you're not allowed to have a person that is not registered to be in the screen. I'm like, I'm registered. What do you mean? And so I press cancel, and then it shuts down. I do it again. I start sharing about books and stuff, and it shuts down again. And then I realize that my Douyin, the ability to live stream is forever canceled. Like they cannot uncancel it. Like, and even like the EMCN, like any MCN company wasn't able, with all the connections with Douyin, couldn't uncancel my live streaming ability. So that day I realized that there's a rule that if you registered an account with a person, that person has to be in the screen and has to be the main person speaking, or has to be at least in the same kind of, you have to be in the same place. Otherwise, you can forever. So for up until this moment, I'm banned for live streaming. So that's a little story. Uh, my name is Yegor. I'm from Ukraine. I do have these followers, yes, on Douyin and Xiaohongshu. I think the biggest platform for me is Douyin. Uh, I was really surprised that Melina, that you had followers around 30, 36 or 38-year-old man, because me and you are so different, but our fan base is so similar.
Yeah. Maybe they like you too. They find you attractive too.
I don't know. Well, it's that, and I have a lot of the older ladies. They just kind of they find me cute or something. I don't know, but that's what these companies don't really like. It's like old ladies and middle-aged men like me. It's because it's, and I have to say, speaking after Melina, it's just so difficult because she nailed so many topics. But I will share my experience. The MCN company that I worked with was actually a pleasant experience. Yeah, so I want to share a little bit of that. Before that, I'll just say what I do. So I used to work for TV station. I am from the how do you say? Now they call it 传统媒体 in Chinese. It's like traditional media. I used to work for TV. I used to be a host, hosting different TV shows, shooting documentaries. I still do, but most of the money that used to support TV stations running are quitting TV station. They're realizing that more influence is in the social media. So all the commercial, all the advertising money and 预算, right? The budget is going to the bloggers and vloggers and people on social media. So I was like, okay, I need to start doing my own content. So what I do is actually, I think it's very similar to what Melina does. I also do it in Chinese. I basically speak about my experience in China. I noticed that for me, because I am more like of a funny character usually, when I get surprised by something in China, they like it. And when I try to go into the depth, like for example, try to make how do you say, try to, yeah, just a little deeper or longer videos. This is where it's kind of get harder for me. So for me, the bit like the 35 the 1 minute time of the video is like perfect. I get one, I share one idea, I support it with a couple of facts, I do something interesting, and then it's over. That's what struck for me usually. I tried doing 2 minute or 3 minute long videos, and it's so much more difficult. Yeah, so your accounts don't have live stream. Yes. Okay, I'll speak about live streaming and like the links that Melina addressed from my perspective. I think you can go to the next page. Yeah. So my experience with MCN, I want to speak a couple things that really were beneficial to me. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes let me start with legal help. So even if you have a Chinese person's ID, every time I do live streaming, or not live streaming, but even live streaming with Xiaohongshu, which is not banned, praise God, and commercial links, you have to 报备. In Chinese, it's 报备, and you have to put in the MCN company's credentials and name. This is what happened to me. Like MCN company would send me like, Yegor, okay, you have to register this information, and then only after registering can I live stream in Xiaohongshu. And I think even in Weixin, I am not sure. You can correct me if I'm not. Melina, was that the same? Was that the same experience for you?
I haven't really tried live streaming that much. I know more from other people who have tried it, but
Okay.
for live streaming, I'm not the right person to talk to.
So I completely agree with Melina saying that most of the MCN companies are pressing really towards live streaming. That's because when there's only amount of commercials or advertisement or cooperations, how Melina used to say it, that you can get in a month, only 4. If you get more than that, it overcrowds your content and is considered to be a little bit negative for your, content and for the fans. And there's only so much you can make in 4 advertisements. And that's why companies want to make a lot of money every day. They want the life. So they were asking me like, okay, we want you to do a live streaming, which at that time I was like, okay. Now I want to touch a little bit about the contract, something that Melina, I don't think maybe addressed, or maybe I couldn't hear, but when signing contract with MCN, what helped me a lot and how I was able to protect myself with a cooperation that I didn't really want is to put a price, not limit, the price standard. Oh, I don't know how you say it, but for example, this is what the company said. In 6 months, if you're not able to make 400,000 yuan, like pure profit,
then we can break the contract. So it's like 试营, like how do you say 试营业? So it's basically like a tryout, a
trial period.
A trial
period, right?
Yeah,
It's
have you mentioned that? Yeah.
I would just call it trial period of 6 months. They see if you're lucrative and you can still cancel within the first 6 months, which is actually, I think, a good idea.
A good idea, great idea, because they said like, we're really influential, and they were like, oh, we can do this and that for you. I was like, wow, so great, okay. But in the end, I was like, yeah, well, they all say that, but see how real you are. So we put that amount. And they said, if you make less than that money, then we really don't want to cooperate. And I was like, if I can make, they put actually a crazy amount. They put like 700,000 yuan in a year. And I was like, if I can make that much money with you guys, I don't care if you share. And they wanted to share 65%, and they gave me 35, which was very generous, I think. After listening to Melina, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they were helping me with that, with legal help. They knew which, how to make these commercial links and live streaming. And without them, without the MCN company, even my Chinese ID, like my wife's ID, couldn't help. But okay, insider's information. This is what helped me sometimes, is that these big MCN companies, they have a lot of friends that work for Douyin and Xiaohongshu and for these platforms. And sometimes they would say, this period of time, shoot more content about this, A, B, C, D, and it's going to be a little better. So that kind of helped. That's a benefit I remember. Sometimes, I'll give you an example. They had the procession, how do you call it? 阅兵 in Chinese. And any content that you would do at that time that didn't have to do with Yuebing, with the parade in Beijing, would probably not get too much attention. So probably it would be a good idea to keep your, travel log or something like those videos, maybe posted a little later after the viral waves of parade are gone. So they would give me information like that. And sometimes, as foreigners, we don't get like, oh, recently this movie is so popular. It's about anti-Japanese, narrative. So maybe posting Japanese travel, which I almost did, was not the best idea. Yeah. Well, Chinese people still go to Japan and enjoy Japan. But anyway, maybe it was not the best time. Market knowledge. Now, the problem with the company that I had is that they're really live stream focused, and for me, the only kind of value I had at that time was getting these cooperations, like commercials, basically shooting advertisement for people, and they didn't have much expertise. But those MCN companies that have a lot of clients, like number 4, mature clientele, is like they have been working with like all different companies. So they know what companies need, what kind of content, what kind of style. And sometimes they would give a really clear guidance to their KOLs. They would say, okay, I just want you to do this style and do it this long. And then I have these brands that can, work with you. Now, for me, for example, I'm a free agent now. I have no idea what kind of, because I don't have a clientele. I basically just guess. And what I learned working with MCN is that they say every time you make a video, you make a room for an advertisement. So they say, for example, if you share some knowledge and you just stand there and it's a blank kind of background, the coffee company is not gonna, will be looking for you in order to, to offer you a cooperation. But if you walk with a cup in your hand or over a coffee, you're sharing a message, then you kind of give them the space, right? The space to do something. So that they gave me that perspective that every time I design my content, I would put those kind of markers, that space that could be filled with advertisement. So for those people who saw the videos from the business part, they could, come and find me. Yeah, the encouragement and the post-production. Melina also mentioned the post-production, like the editing videos. Now, I did not know, but I'll give you a calculation. That month, when I had like the biggest increase of my followers, they posted 20 videos a month, and that's a lot. That's a lot for me. Yeah, but just being able to shoot a video and just know that they will edit it well and I don't have to worry about it, just gave me so much time to think about what I can shoot and what content I can create. Whereas right now I cannot make 20 videos a month. It's just, if you edit it yourself and you think about how to do it, and you want to do it nicely, it's just no way. And then if you want to hire a person, one video, I think at least will cost you 200 kwai, I think, and like a good one, probably 400 to 500. And you make a calculation. If you pay that much money for 20 videos a month, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So they spend at least 2 months just cutting these videos for me, basically for free. So the MCN companies, I have to give credit to them. They spend their time. They pay the salary to their workers. And I had 2 guys who edited with me, the girl who is the manager, and the other girl was in charge of all the like Shangtan. Basically, she would communicate with the businesses that would be looking for the advertisement. So these are benefits, guys. If you have any questions about benefits, or if you don't agree with me, please let me know. Okay, in the description. Okay, bless you, Matt. Okay, I saw you coughing there. Okay, next slide. I see Aiden is laughing so badly. What are you laughing at? Aiden's laughing. I was like, why did I invite this guy? Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Things to be cautious. Yeah, the profit share. So I'll just share. I'll share what a typical. I don't have any secrets. So let's say I had a commercial for 20,000 yuan, and that's a lot of money. That's great. That's great. I'm happy. And then, so 65% was gone, and then I had to share another 5% with a girl who introduced me to the MCN company. So basically 30%. So I only had a third. And then while you're shooting, you still spend, the money on food and blah, 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 etc. And then in the end, I was like, wow, there's just nothing left in my hands. I was like almost 5,000 kwai. I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's, and if you had like advertisement every day, I don't know, that would probably be nice. But I was thinking like, long term, these guys, yeah, it was probably not really working out for me. Also, the content creation freedom. Melina touched a little bit on this. For me, I'm not crazy about being just free, and I want to shoot what I want to shoot. But they really wanted to make money. And they would look at what videos hit the most views, and there were all the foreigners that were saying "安全, Beijing 安全," how safe China was, and then how fast the bullet trains were, and I don't mind praising, because it's okay. Sometimes if you like something and you praise, it's fine. And I said once in a while I'll do those videos, but they wanted just to keep doing. They were like, you just have to make a series of just doing the appraisal of China. And I'm like, yeah, that's not, and I didn't want to do it. And I completely understand.
I think I want to jump on that I think I want to jump on that, like the hot topics that you have mentioned, because I think I see a lot of foreigners who make these type of videos where they praise China is so safe, it's the best country in the world. And I've always also stood away from these topics because for me, it's a bit of propaganda. It's a fine line between of what is real and what is unreal. But for example, the topic that I've said before, garbage sorting got 20 million views because it was also a political topic, but there's nothing wrong with saying protect the environment. It's not controversial. So if you're making videos for the Chinese market, try to follow Chinese media. I was listening to some podcasts, and if you have a topic where you think it's safe, then make a video about it. It's probably going to get a lot of views because it's hard. Everybody anyways talks about it. But for example, the thing that Yegor has mentioned before with the parade, a lot of people told me, why don't you make a video as a German about like as the Nazi
German
thing
about the parade.
Yeah, as a German, the Nazi thing in Japan. And I'm like, I think it's too hot, this topic. And I was thinking a couple of times about it, but then later on I saw videos and I saw the actual day and I was like, luckily I didn't do that. It's just really, really sensitive. It could work, but for what cost? And recently I was also working together with two Canadians, and then they wanted to invite me for a show with CCTN, and I was like, I'll go in every province. Like I go to every province except Xinjiang and Tibet. I just don't want to go there and promote anything. I think it's going to fire back. And they were like, you need to choose the side, either China or the West. And I think it's absolute bullshit. We will be doing social media for probably several years, so you can't allow yourself a big mistake like that. Yeah, just to add to this. Some topics are safe, some are not.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Some things, I mean, you could do that. It was just the pressure that it's not a hobby anymore. And it's not something that you just like. You have to feed a company. You have to feed at least 4 people of the company. And they say, this will make like clicks and likes, so do it. And you can, I tried to negotiate and I said like, maybe I could do this twist and this thing to it, make it more natural. But in the end, it's like how much you are willing to sacrifice. So that was one of the things you have to be cautious about. Also, number 3 is communication 成本. This is what, when it comes to editing, they didn't get the idea that I was going for when I was kind of, thinking, oh, there's a point here and you can connect that one to the next one, and they wouldn't get it, or they would miscommunicate the message from the business. And we would go back and forth just arguing what needs to be done. And that's just slower. Because when it's by yourself, you're like, okay, I think I will just not use this part if this part is, not what the client wants. But with a company, it's just so much slower. You write a message and they don't answer, and then you have to wait until the evening, and then there's another problem because it's just communication. When you create the content and you create a brand, it's like it's yours. You create something on your own and you're growing it, and it's kind of your baby. But when it's with MCN, basically, it's their business model. So that's what I put in legacy and experience. I think when you do it yourself, you learn how to communicate with clients, learn how to edit. It teaches you a lot. When you outsource it, it just becomes more like work. And if that's what you want, if you just want the kind of easy way and just shoot what you are used to and just let them take the pressure and everything, I think that could be a way. But for me, I was like, I just want to know how it's done and I want to learn. And profit pressure. So yeah, they would come and say, this month we didn't have the commercial, blah blah blah. You should probably shoot more videos. And yeah, so there's more expectation, which could be great. It's like an encouragement. It pushed me in the beginning, and later at the stages, it was a little too much. I negotiated with them. I said, guys, the commercial are coming, like the advertisement came, but it's really not enough to feed you guys. And what's left for me, it's really not much. And we're all struggling. They said, yeah. So we broke we canceled the contract, and now I'm a free agent. Yeah. I want to leave you guys with an idea that working with an MCN company, finding a right one is like finding a wife or a spouse. So if you find the right one and you guys, work together well, that's going to be great. It's going to be easy, I think. But just to find one is just so hard. So hard. And I completely agree with Melina. Like big companies, influential, they're greedy. Small companies, uh, it's difficult for them to accomplish so much. And also, Melina has her own company, and I was wondering, could you just start your own MCN company? And I think right now the demand, like the 要求, how do you say it? The 要求, the rule, the requirement for the companies that you have to have uh, the 5 bloggers with more than, I forgot how much, 200,000 followers on the platform. And then you can register it as an MCN company, and then you can do the live streaming and those things. But I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, thank you guys for having me here. I love content creating. 500,000. Woo! Fraser, thank you.
So for the I know a German there's a German man, he's a bit older, like in his late 50s. He has found a company with his wife, has actually separated into a couple of companies, one for live streaming, one for other stuff. They are doing live streaming actually 4 times per week, and they're just selling products, bed sheets, stuff to cook. They make really good figures because I wanted to cooperate with them before, and they said, we want to do live streaming with you. Why don't you come over and watch our live stream? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like the numbers go up, but they're pretty big. He's the only one. They only have one account, but he has a few million followers across maybe like 10 million followers across all the social media websites. They also hired people from MCNs, but they have a team that is at least 10 people big. And for a successful live stream that will give you the chance to earn money, you have to have at least 4 people in a room, two who are just in front of the PC, they're selling the products, they're answering stuff, 2 people in front of the camera at least, because as a foreigner you won't be able.
Inviting me. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you guys are in Beijing, I would love to have some coffee, or I don't know, play some football or soccer. So nice to meet you.
All right, huge thanks again to Melina and Yegor. And now, so I have uploaded all their social accounts. Some others I didn't upload, and also, yeah, I'll give you guys in the shout out in the group chat. So you guys in the China Creator Hub group chat, you can easily find them, or you can follow their socials. So I think that's it for China Creator Hub second event. And thank you everyone for attending, especially those who woke up 5 in the morning for the event. Really appreciate it. So looking forward for the third event, and also thank you Yegor, thank you Melina, Duncan, so much. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the group chat. So have a wonderful content creation journey, guys.